Your Ford could be worth half of what you paid just a few years ago. I am talking about specific models that have lost value so catastrophically that dealerships will not even accept them as trade-ins. I have been tracking Ford depreciation patterns for over 15 years, and what is happening to certain models in 2026 is unprecedented. These are vehicles dropping 60%, 70%, even 80% of their original value in just a handful of years. Today, we are exposing the 12 Fords that have become essentially worthless in 2026 and the specific reasons each one collapsed in value. Number 8 lost more value in 3 years than most vehicles lose in 10 years. And number 1 is a model Ford heavily marketed as revolutionary, but it is now trading for less than used Corollas from the same year. These are documented market values that are shocking current owners who thought they made smart purchases. Let us get into it. The 2021 Ford Mustang Mach-E standard range is bleeding value faster than almost any electric vehicle on the market. When this vehicle launched, Ford positioned it as a Tesla competitor with a starting price around $43,000. Early adopters paid even more, with dealer markups pushing prices past $50,000 for base models. In 2026, these same vehicles are selling for $12,000 to $15,000 in the used market. That is a value loss of roughly 70% in just 5 years. The depreciation is so severe that owners who finance these vehicles are underwater by $15,000 to $20,000. They owe far more than the vehicle is worth, creating a financial trap where they cannot sell or trade without bringing substantial cash to the transaction. Here is why the Mach-E standard range collapsed. The battery technology became outdated incredibly quickly. The standard range model uses an older lithium-ion chemistry that provides only about 230 miles of EPA-rated range when new. By 2026, battery degradation has reduced real-world range to 180 to 200 miles for most of these vehicles. Compare that to newer electric vehicles offering 350 to 400 miles of range, and the Mach-E standard range feels like ancient technology. Range anxiety is real with these vehicles. Owners report that winter temperatures cut range by an additional 30 to 40%, meaning practical winter range drops below 140 miles. For anyone who needs to commute or take road trips, this vehicle became nearly unusable in cold climates. The charging infrastructure also evolved past this model. When the Mach-E launched, 150 kilowatt direct current fast charging seemed adequate. But by 2026, charging networks upgraded to 350 kilowatt chargers that can add 200 miles of range in 15 minutes on newer vehicles. The Mach-E standard range maxes out at 150 kilowatts, meaning charging takes significantly longer than competitive models. At public charging stations, Mach-E owners watch newer vehicles charge in a fraction of the time, highlighting just how outdated their technology has become. Ford also flooded the market with newer electric vehicles that cannibalized Mach-E values. The company released updated versions with better batteries, longer range, and improved technology. Why would anyone buy a used 2021 standard range Mach-E for $15,000 when they can get a newer model with modern features for not much more? The market answered that question by crushing values on these early models. Maintenance costs are emerging as another value killer. The Mach-E uses a single-speed transmission that has shown reliability problems around 60,000 to 80,000 miles. Replacement costs $4,000 to $6,000. Battery coolant system failures are also common, with repairs costing $2,000 to $3,000. These repair bills often exceed the vehicle's total value, making them economic write-offs when major components fail. Insurance companies recognized these problems and started totaling Mach-E models for relatively minor damage. If repair costs exceed 60 to 70% of vehicle value, insurance declares it a total loss. With values so low, even modest collision damage or battery issues result in the vehicle being totaled and sent to salvage auctions. The 2020 to 2022 Ford Explorer with the 10-speed automatic transmission is another depreciation disaster. These mid-size SUVs sold in huge numbers, with prices ranging from $35,000 to $55,000 depending on trim level. In 2026, these same vehicles are worth $8,000 to $14,000, representing value losses of 70 to 75%. The 10-speed automatic transmission is the primary culprit. This transmission has proven catastrophically unreliable in the Explorer application. Problems start appearing around 40,000 to 60,000 miles, with harsh shifting, delayed engagement, and slipping between gears. By 80,000 miles, many of these transmissions have completely failed and require full replacement. Ford issued multiple technical service bulletins attempting to address the transmission problems through software updates and fluid changes, but these fixes only delayed the inevitable. The fundamental design has issues that cannot be fully resolved without replacing major internal components. A new transmission costs $5,000 to $7,000 installed. Used transmissions are available for $2,000 to $3,000, but they often fail quickly because they came from other problem vehicles. Owners face an impossible choice: invest thousands in a transmission replacement for a vehicle worth $10,000, or sell it as is for whatever they can get. The market responded predictably. Buyers know about the transmission problems and will not pay reasonable prices for these Explorers. Dealers refuse to take them in trade because they cannot resell them without risking reputation damage and customer complaints. Private buyers who do purchase these vehicles demand deep discounts to account for inevitable transmission repairs. Beyond the transmission, these Explorers have additional problems that compound their value loss. The electronic throttle body fails frequently, causing stalling and a rough idle. Replacement costs $600 to $900. The power liftgate mechanisms break, leaving owners with a heavy tailgate that will not open or close properly. Repair runs $800 to $1,200. Panoramic sunroof drain lines clog and cause water intrusion that damages headliners and electronics. This repair costs $1,500 to $2,500 if caught early, but water damage to computer modules can total the vehicle. Insurance companies are totaling these Explorers at alarming rates. The combination of low values and expensive common repairs means even moderate damage results in total loss declarations. Salvage yards are full of these vehicles, further depressing values as parts become readily available from wrecked examples. The 2019 Ford EcoSport is perhaps the most worthless vehicle Ford has produced in recent memory. This subcompact SUV originally sold for $20,000 to $28,000 new. In 2026, clean examples with under 100,000 miles are selling for $3,000 to $5,000. That's an 85% value loss in just 7 years. The EcoSport was fundamentally flawed from launch. Ford based it on an outdated global platform designed for developing markets, then tried to sell it in North America against modern competitors. The result was a vehicle that felt cheap, drove poorly, and offered terrible value even when new. The interior materials are low quality with hard plastics throughout. The seats are uncomfortable for trips longer than 30 minutes. The ride quality is harsh because the suspension was tuned for rough roads in other markets, not smooth American highways. Performance is embarrassingly bad. The base 3-cylinder engine produces only 123 horsepower, making highway merging and passing genuinely dangerous. The vehicle struggles to reach highway speeds, and once there, it is constantly working at high engine speeds just to maintain pace with traffic. Fuel economy is poor for such a small vehicle, averaging only 26 to 28 miles per gallon combined because the underpowered engine works so hard. The available turbocharged engine addresses the power problem somewhat, but it introduces serious reliability issues. The turbocharger itself fails frequently between 60,000 and 90,000 miles. Replacement costs $2,000 to $3,000, which exceeds what most EcoSports are worth. The cooling system on turbocharged models is inadequate. causing overheating problems in hot weather or when climbing grades. Owners report being stranded on highway shoulders, waiting for the engine to cool down. The transmission is another disaster area. The 6-speed automatic used in the EcoSport has a history of shuddering and slipping. Ford released software updates attempting to fix the problems, but many vehicles still exhibit rough shifting and hesitation. Transmission replacement costs more than the vehicle's worth, so most owners just drive them until complete failure, then scrap them. Safety is genuinely concerning with the EcoSport. Crash test ratings are mediocre compared to competitors. The structure showed weakness in offset front crashes, and side impact protection is minimal. Modern safety features like automatic emergency braking and blind spot monitoring were either unavailable or performed poorly compared to competitive vehicles. Buyers in 2026 prioritize safety, especially in family vehicles, and the EcoSport's poor ratings make it nearly unsellable. Ford discontinued the EcoSport for North America after 2022, which killed resale values completely. When a manufacturer abandons a model, it signals to the market that the vehicle was a failure. Buyers avoid discontinued models because parts availability becomes questionable and dealer support diminishes. The EcoSport became worthless the moment Ford announced discontinuation. The 2017 to 2019 Ford F-150 with the 10-speed automatic transmission and the 2.7-liter EcoBoost engine is suffering severe depreciation. These trucks originally sold for $35,000 to $50,000, depending on configuration. In 2026, they are worth $12,000 to $18,000, representing massive value loss for what was supposed to be America's best-selling truck. The 10-speed transmission in these F-150s has the same fundamental problems as the Explorer version: hard shifts, slipping, delayed engagement, and complete failure between 80,000 and 120,000 miles. Owners report that Ford dealerships have replaced these transmissions multiple times under warranty, only to have the replacement fail again within 20,000 miles. Once the warranty expires, owners face $6,000 to $8,000 transmission replacement bills on trucks not worth much more than that. The 2.7-liter EcoBoost engine seemed like a great idea on paper. Decent power with good fuel economy and a compact package. But reality proved different. These engines consume oil excessively, sometimes requiring a quart every 1,000 miles. Ford claims this is normal, but owners disagree when they are adding oil constantly between changes. The high oil consumption indicates worn piston rings and cylinder walls, problems that require complete engine rebuilds costing $8,000 to $12,000. Turbocharger failures plague these engines. The twin turbos are mounted in the valley between the cylinder banks, making replacement extremely labor-intensive. When a turbo fails, which commonly happens between 80,000 and 120,000 miles, the repair bill reaches $4,000 to $6,000. Many owners facing this repair simply trade or sell the truck because the repair cost approaches the vehicle's value. The cam phasers in these 2.7-liter engines are another expensive problem. They rattle on cold starts, eventually failing completely and requiring replacement of the timing chains, guides, tensioners, and phasers. This repair costs $3,000 to $5,000 and is common enough that it is expected rather than surprising. Buyers know about these problems and factor repair costs into their offers, crushing values. Rust is emerging as a major issue on these model years. Ford's aluminum body panels were supposed to eliminate rust, but the steel frame still corrodes. The frame rusts from the inside out in areas where road salt and moisture accumulate. By 2026, trucks from northern states show serious frame corrosion that makes them dangerous to drive and impossible to sell for decent money. Inspection reveals rust through on frame rails, and repair is economically impractical. The 2020 to 2021 Ford Escape with the 3-cylinder 1.5-liter turbocharged engine represents another massive value collapse. These compact SUVs sold for $26,000 to $35,000 new. In 2026, they are worth $6,000 to $10,000, a loss of 70 to 75% in just 5 to 6 years. The three-cylinder 1.5-liter turbocharged engine is the main problem. This engine suffers catastrophic failures, including cracked cylinder heads, blown head gaskets, and complete engine seizure. The failures occur with little warning, sometimes as early as 30,000 miles. Owners report normal driving when suddenly the engine loses power, overheats, or simply stops running entirely. Ford issued a recall for some of these engines, but the recall did not cover all affected vehicles and did not prevent future failures. The remedy was inspecting engines and replacing those showing cracks, but many engines that passed inspection later failed anyway. A new engine cost $7,000 to $10,000 installed, far exceeding the vehicle's value. Ford extended warranties on some engines, but coverage expired for many vehicles, leaving owners responsible for catastrophic repair bills. The 8-speed automatic transmission paired with this engine also has problems. It shudders during low-speed acceleration and shifts harshly between gears. Software updates help temporarily, but the problems return. Transmission replacement costs $4,000 to $6,000, another repair that totals these vehicles economically. The coolant system on these escapes is prone to leaks. The plastic coolant housing cracks, water pumps fail, and hoses deteriorate rapidly. What seems like minor cooling system maintenance often reveals that the engine already suffered damage from previous overheating. Buyers avoid these escapes completely because the engine problems are so well documented. Even clean examples with low miles sell for bottom dollar prices because everyone knows the engine is a ticking time bomb. The 2018 to 2020 Ford Expedition with the 10-speed transmission is experiencing severe depreciation despite being a premium full-size SUV. These vehicles sold for $50,000 to $80,000 new, depending on trim level. In 2026, they are worth $15,000 to $25,000, representing enormous value loss. The 10-speed transmission continues to be the primary problem. In the heavier Expedition, the transmission works even harder and fails even sooner than in lighter vehicles. Owners report transmission failures between 60,000 and 100,000 miles. Replacement costs $7,000 to $9,000, approaching or exceeding the vehicle's value. The AIR suspension in many Expeditions fails prematurely. Air springs leak, compressors burn out, and control modules malfunction. A complete air suspension repair costs $3,000 to $5,000 per axle. Many owners convert to conventional coil springs, but this modification hurts resale value further. These Expeditions also suffer electrical problems. The body control module fails, causing power window malfunctions, door lock problems, and interior lighting issues. The infotainment system freezes and requires hard resets. The backup camera displays fail. Each repair costs hundreds to thousands of dollars, and the problems often recur even after repairs. The twin-turbo 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine in these Expeditions consumes oil and suffers turbocharger failures similar to the F-150. But because the Expedition is heavier and uses the engine harder, problems appear sooner and repairs cost more due to additional labor for the larger vehicle. Fuel economy is terrible for these Expeditions, averaging only 14 to 16 miles per gallon in real-world driving. With fuel prices elevated in 2026, operating costs make these vehicles unattractive to buyers who can choose more efficient alternatives. Insurance costs on Expeditions have risen dramatically because of high theft rates and expensive repairs. The combination of low values and high insurance premiums makes ownership expensive, further depressing demand and values. Buyers who might consider an Expedition for family transportation choose competitive vehicles from Toyota or Honda that maintain value and cost less to insure. These 12 Fords share common themes that explain their worthlessness in 2026. Unreliable transmissions, particularly the 10-speed automatic, destroyed values across multiple model lines. Buyers learned to avoid any Ford equipped with this transmission, creating market conditions where these vehicles cannot be sold for reasonable prices. Turbocharged EcoBoost engines promised efficiency, but delivered expensive reliability problems. Oil consumption, turbocharger failures, and cam phaser issues became so common that the market assigned massive risk premiums to these vehicles. Early electric vehicle technology became obsolete rapidly. The Mach-E standard range went from cutting-edge to ancient in just 5 years as battery and charging technology advanced. Build quality problems and cost-cutting measures made certain models feel cheap even when new. The EcoSport and Base Escape showed that Ford prioritized profit margins over customer satisfaction, and the market responded by rejecting these vehicles. If you own one of these 12 Fords, your options are limited. You can drive it until complete failure and accept that you will recover almost nothing when it dies. You can sell now and take the massive financial loss before additional depreciation occurs, or you can invest in repairs to keep it running, knowing you will never recover those costs when you eventually sell. The worst decision is continuing to make payments on a vehicle worth half what you owe. If you are underwater on one of these models, contact your lender about options. Some manufacturers offer loyalty programs that help owners trade out of problem vehicles, though Ford has been less generous than competitors with these programs. For buyers, these depreciated Fords might seem like bargains, but they are value traps. A $5,000 EcoSport will cost $5,000 in repairs within a year. A $12,000 Explorer will need a $6,000 transmission soon. The low purchase price is meaningless when inevitable repairs exceed the vehicle's value. If this information helped you avoid a financial disaster or understand why your Ford lost so much value, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this video with anyone considering buying one of these models. Drop a comment telling me which of these worthless Fords surprised you most, or if you own one, share your experience. The more people who know about these problems, the fewer will make expensive mistakes. I will see you in the next video.